Africanizing our economies. Where are the opportunities in Africa today? This is going to be the main part of my talk tonight. Where are the opportunities? Number one is the population growth and the patterns of population growth and urbanization. So Africa is currently still mainly rural, 1.2 billion people. It is estimated by between 2030 and 2035 or so, it will be probably 50-50, and from there, the majority of people will be urban. But you see, more than 80% of Africa's population growth even today is in the cities. Second, so that's where the opportunities are. I'll discuss a bit more about where the business opportunities are in the urbanization process. The second area of opportunity is that let's industrialize Africa our own way, because trying to industrialize it the way it happened in Europe and US is not working for us, for reasons I've always been explaining. There's a lot of evidence now, a lot of scholars like Hart and others who now say that what we are calling informal sector is the real indigenous commerce, and it offers the social forms which organize resources at family and community level towards what we are talking about as proto-industrialization and light manufacturing, light industry. And that this is where this thing is going to be shaped. Okay, so forget manufacturing the traditional way, because we went through a period in the 20th century where we were told to go for structural adjustment, blah blah. But what the end result was, we're being told, open up your economies for everyone to come and dump their products on you, and you will never be able to compete with them ever again, because when they dump your clothing on you, you are never going to develop a textile industry. In fact, whatever textile industry you have will die. Then we start importing bales for the rest of the century. So this is what happened to us. Whereas the new economy we're talking about, when we industrialize our own way, is to drive the indigenous commerce so that the cultural and heritage products really become mainstream in entertainment, education, media, software, information services, food systems, etc., etc. This is where African governments and strategies need to try and recreate the industrial pathway away from the European Asian approach towards our own more appropriate social and economic innovation and dynamism that is doable for us. Thirdly, there are opportunities in disrupting Africa's food system. And urbanization, once again, is a starting point, because as people get urbanized, their dietary patterns change, and as their incomes rise, they consume more manufactured goods and services and more fruits and vegetables, meats, etc. It then reverts back into the rural areas where the actual food production system also transforms to feed the growing urban food system. So the rural factor markets begins to respond to that effectively, and then that way has become more mechanized, more industrialized. Wages in rural areas become similar to wages in urban areas, because it's now one market. Okay, so this is where the opportunities are when it comes to the food system. For Africa, we can do a lot, because Africa can reclaim a lot of commercially successful ideas that we have lost to the world. I mean, Africans, we don't even know what we have done to this world. We don't even know what we have given to this world. So I thought I'll just give you 10 good examples, some of which, even if we have lost the market, some we can reclaim, some we may not be able to reclaim, but we can do something to actually still leverage a lot of what is African. Take coffee. You see, when you compare Ethiopian coffee, which in science they will say it's Arabica, it's coffee Arabica. It originated in Ethiopia, much nicer than Colombian coffee. This coffee was domesticated in Africa more than 1,000 years ago in highlands of Ethiopia. Now it's a global product. I mean, when Americans addict themselves with this product, they hardly know it originated in Africa. The second example is the cola nut. Well, the original taste of coca in Coca-Cola came from the cola nut, an African tree. There's nothing more American than Coca-Cola, and yet the original taste came from cola. I mean, now they have substitutes and what have you, but in actual fact, Coca-Cola is an African idea. Rooibos tea, I've already explained. Shea butter. And one of my other favorite examples, you go to the United States and you go into the shops there, they will sell you what they call black-eyed pea. Well, black-eyed pea in Africa is what is called cowpeas. So the colonials came to Africa and said, oh, this is cowpeas, meaning it shouldn't be eaten by humans. It should be eaten by animals. It's derogatory. The same product they take to America and they call it black-eyed pea, and becomes a really nice legume product to buy. See, okra is African, it's gone global. The sweet melon originated from Africa. We are not sure which part, but definitely Africa. Several places of Africa can claim it. It's only the non-sweet one originated elsewhere, but the sweet one originated in Africa. African yam, you know, many African cereals are making their way back. You see sorghum, pearl millet, finger millet, etc. There's teff, I've already talked about. These are products which were relegated to low quality, backward products. But these cereals made their way to the rest of the world, and they are now slowly coming back because they are a lot more healthier than maize and rice and wheat, which have dominated cereal production recently. Jollof rice is making its way from West Africa to all parts of the world. Wash it, that is going to be a big one. Then the rest are things we already know. Modern art, you know that story. All these Picassos only borrowed this from the Africans. Nando's is now global. It's just local white people in South Africa just throwing in a bit of this and that, calling it Portuguese, but the idea is African. It's now a global product. Ubuntu as an idea is now capturing the rest of the world. As the world rises in crises, the world is beginning to realize that the human race needs unification, and the ancient Ubuntu idea encapsulates all this. Doesn't matter where we are, I am because we are. Okay, so you can close your borders, you can build the walls, but it's the same air we're going to breathe across the world. It's the same one little world when global warming attacks. It attacks everyone. Jazz, beat music, 100% originating from Africa. There would not be MTV today if the African drum had not crossed the seas across the world, and jazz music transformed the rest of music in the US in the 20s, 30s, ending up with, I mean, it's unmistakable leadership in entertainment and music in the world, all originating from Africa. So this is a Nollywood, for heaven's sake, in Nigeria is now the second largest movie industry in the world after the Indian. So it's all there. I mean, so all these products, when you see a woman carrying all that shea butter and so on, you must remember that that's the future. You start from there, you modernize, you pack properly, you brand properly. Everyone wants this thing in the world. Talking about culture, people don't know that the cowboy culture was shaped by African Americans because they were slaves and looking after those cattle. Okay, so there were some local additions to that culture, like the horses. But the rest of what the cowboy culture was shaped by the African Americans. They're the ones who knew how to handle cattle the way we handle them in Africa. You know, jumping on calves, tying them here, throwing rope. shaped by Africans. So all these products that we see on the streets are the future. Today's proto industries, which have to be shaped into African and global products in the future. So I see today my team put copies of my two books, which you can also read, because they talk about some of these things. Being African, both of them published by Penguin and Leading Africa. They're available. You can buy these from any place, Penguin online, and all the big